They gave me an ultimatum. If you don't move into the food court space, we're gonna terminate your lease. I did $1 million my first year.
You did not.
I did $1 million my second year.
You did not.
I did.
Really? Feeling good?
Yeah, feeling good like a Hebrew should.
I like that.
Looking at that. So.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, so today I'm here with Judah.
What's up?
Oh my God, it has been a long time since I interviewed you.
That's right.
There was a phase where I was just like, I just wanted to interview you. I just interviewed you a couple of times because I feel like you have such great stories, real life stories, you know.
Yeah, you know, when I first got to Ghana, and I first opened up Jerk Soul, I think you were one of my first interviews. So it's been over 3 years.
Yeah. You guys should definitely go back and watch some of those interviews. They were really good. Really, really good. You're a good storyteller.
I try. There's a lot of stories in here.
But you have another story to share today. I was so sad when I heard that Jerk Soul was closing down.
Yeah.
I was like, this must be like, maybe Instagram has made an error somehow. So I immediately texted you and I was like, what do you mean Jerk Soul is closing down?
Yeah.
What's happening? How?
Yeah. You know, I've been getting that that same reaction from everybody.
I
You know,
bet.
when they hear, so my phone has been blowing up.
I bet.
You know what I mean? But yeah.
Do you feel emotional that it's closing?
Of course. You know, that's my baby. So, I've shed a thug tear or two. You know what I mean?
As you should.
This news is fresh. It's new. The decision was made literally, 2-3 weeks ago?
Oh, really? It's fresh.
Yeah.
Wow.
This just happened.
Wow. Okay. So first of all, I'd just like to say that Jerk Soul for me is like the heart of the diaspora.
Yeah.
Because anytime we see your post or anytime we come to Jerk Soul, it's very much, if you don't know anybody, just go to Jerk Soul. You're going to make some friends.
You're going to meet some
the
diaspora.
Yeah, exactly. And so I feel like it's such a great hub for that. I'm like, how have we got to the point where Jerk Soul is now having to shut its doors? Is it a financial decision? What's the story behind it? Perhaps you can share.
Yeah. So, no, it's not a financial situation. It's really, at the end of the day, it's unreconcilable differences between myself and who I'm renting the space from.
Right.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, I've since I've been here, I've heard a lot of stories about how, people could be in a lease for their home, or they could have an agreement in business or land or whatever the case is. And I've heard stories about, if somebody else comes along with more money or whatever the situation is, and the original person gets pushed out. Yeah. That's kind of what's going on with me.
You're kidding me.
That's kind of what's going on. Yeah.
So, from my understanding, you are still within your lease.
Yeah. I'm currently, I signed a 5-year lease, and we're 3.5 years in, so I got another 1.5 years, on my lease. And I got a text message a couple of weeks ago that said, hey, if you don't move out of the space, we have another space. You can move into the food court. And you know how big my place is.
Yeah. That's why we like it.
Huge.
Yeah, like the outside space, like what?
Yeah, and how can I go into a little, and so they're like, yeah, if you don't, they gave me an ultimatum. If you don't move into into the food court space, we're gonna terminate your lease.
Hold on, but it's a lease. How can they just break it with no good reason?
Yeah, I thought that was illegal.
Yeah.
Until I looked at the lease, and
Oh.
it's in the lease where they can terminate the lease for whatever reason and whenever.
Oh, so basically there is no lease.
Right. What's the use of having a
Yeah,
lease?
like what is it for then?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
So I was like, damn,
So you can't even fight this.
not really. Not really.
Wow.
So, that's unfortunate or whatever, you know what I mean? But I'm excited though.
It's a new adventure, right?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I've gotten past like the disappointment because I was disappointed.
Yeah. What was your
You know.
first reaction when you saw that? What happened in your mind when you read that text initially?
Yeah, a lot of different feelings: shock, amazement.
Amazing.
I was shocked and amazed, and I was I was just disappointed because in my head I'm thinking, it's so many so-called Black Americans that's moving into Ghana, and we have the best intentions, and we want to do business, and we want to heal, and we want to just get back into the culture of Mother Africa and stuff, and and just escape all of the madness in Babylon. And so some of us come kind of green.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But the disappointment comes in is when reality hits, and you're like, damn.
And it will hit.
It's hit a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I've noticed is that people that were here that I met 3-4 years ago, they're not here anymore.
All the time it happens. All the time. The longer you stay here, the more you see it. That's why I say it's very difficult to make friends here, because you make friends and then something happens, they go back.
Yeah, they either go back to where they came from, or they go to another African country.
Yeah.
Hoping to be treated better. And so, yeah, man. So I was disappointed especially because of the fact that I have the most notable brand in the mall. I pay some of the top rent in the mall.
Yeah.
People around the world, because of my influence, know about that mall.
Because you were actually a tourist stop.
Because of me, because I'm a tour stop.
Yeah.
Dela, I don't know about any other place, be it a restaurant or whatever, that is, unless it's a hotel or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, of course, the tour buses are going to come to the hotel, and blah, blah, blah. But I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, what other business here is a straight up tour stop?
Yeah.
I'm talking about business. Yeah, people go to like the waterfalls. That's not a business. They go to certain zoos and stuff like that. And
those are just attractions. Right?
Yeah, attractions. If you're not an attraction, what business? And I was like, I can't think of none. But Jerk Soul is.
Yeah.
And so over the last 3.5 years, I've been so blessed to have met thousands and thousands and thousands of people that that have made the trek to come over here and experience Ghana and experience Jerk Soul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's been a big blessing.
I feel so sad about this myself. Like when I heard, like I said, I called you immediately because I'm like, that is a place. Like every time I go to Jerk Soul, I think you've turned the lights off on me. Because we just don't want to go home because you sit there and you forget about your problems, and you're just in this space where you're talking to people who are in similar situations to you, and it feels very family. Yes. And so it's like to lose that. It's like, where do we go now? It's like you're scattering the masses. Like where's the hub? Where do we go to meet each other now?
Yeah, and thank you. And I've been hearing the same thing. Yeah. From people like, man, that was ours.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, to be honest, the diaspora don't have a lot of businesses here.
No.
You know, we don't have a ton of businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's people doing business.
Yeah.
You know, people are, have, they're buying land and building homes and doing
Yeah.
Airbnbs and stuff like that. But commercial business, brick and mortar business, it's not a lot. You know,
Because I ain't gonna lie to you, that takes a special kind of grace to do like a brick and mortar business here, because that is hard work. So
it is.
for you to have done it for this amount of time, amazing.
Especially if you're if you're a foreigner.
Yeah.
You know, and you know me, man. I didn't. I never toured Africa before I moved here.
Yeah.
I just moved.
Just get up and just came.
Yeah.
Like that.
And 6 months after I got here, I opened up. Jerk Soul.
Looking back now, do you think that move was naive? Would you, like, if someone told you that they wanted to do exactly what you did, would you say, yeah, go for it, or would you give them different advice?
If they wanted to do exactly what I did,
well, they have their own dreams. They want to come from the States. They've never been to Africa before, and just start a business immediately.
Yeah, I would recommend it.
You
for
would?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. But see, you talking to somebody. I'm a person of extremes. You know, I'm from Chicago, so it's either hot or cold.
Right.
It's either 0 or 100. There's no in between. So somebody else might answer that differently.
Right.
But for me, I would say because I'm all about if you got a dream, man, go hard, go all the way in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So while a lot of people thought I was crazy for just coming over here without visiting or all that kind of stuff, it's for me, it's the only way. It's not the only way, but I definitely would recommend anyone going hard after their dreams.
Yeah,
for sure. That's what I'm about.
Mm-hmm.
So while I've gotten past the whole disappointment part, and the biggest reason why is because on the surface, I feel like on the surface you can look at this as, man, they raised my rent over 120%. In the same lease, not after the lease, inside of the lease.
And they can do that?
That's another thing. One thing I didn't understand was that my payments were going to be based on the dollar. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand that at all. I get it now. But when the rent started to go up, because I pay like every 6 months, so when the rent started to go up from the time that I signed, I'm like, why is it more and more and more and more, right? And so they were basing it off of the dollar. You know what I'm saying? I'm not used to that.
But you should be in a better position now, because now the city's getting stronger, right?
When I got here, the dollar, it was 1 to 6. In December, I think we reached to 17.
Yeah.
So no, it's at 12 now, but no, that's still double. Even 12 is double from when I signed at 6.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing about it is, you don't make dollars.
Making
why?
CDs.
Why? We're making CDs.
Yeah.
Why am I paying according to the dollar? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's something else that was a learning lesson for me. I definitely didn't expect that or even understand that because, where I'm from, once let's say if you get an apartment and it's $1,000 a month, it's going to stay $1,000 a month. Now after your lease is over, it might go up, or it might just stay where it is. So that's all I know, So that was very foreign to me. That, but you know what? Even through that, I thrived. Even as my rent just went up and up and up and up and up. So the finances really wasn't an issue.
So business was good.
Yeah, you know what? I did a million my first year.
You did not.
I did $1 million my second year.
You did not.
I did.
Really?
And I didn't think that was good.
Really?
Because when I started thinking about what I was making in America, I was like, okay, well that's only this much. But, I would talk to people,
Is that profit? Or before, what is that?
That's what I generated. That's what I brought in.
Okay.
And so, people that were close to me, when I would tell them that, they were like, "Oh, what?
Yeah,
like, dude." They were like, "Nobody does that."
That's in the first year of a business. Most people will take a loss or break even. Really?
They was like, "Bro, don't nobody come from another country, open up a business, and do $1 million,
Yeah.
and then another $1 million their second year." Now the third year, which was last year, man, it was a little rough. Maybe even did half as much.
Really? What was the reason for that?
Well, the economy worldwide is not good.
Yeah.
People are spending less money doing extra things like going out. You know what I'm saying? So, you can look at retail in America, even in big cities like, certain districts that are usually popping. It's like a ghost town. You can go to New York,
a lot of businesses
Chicago,
did close. Yeah,
a lot of places, retail, restaurants. All of the things that were, businesses that were prevalent many years ago are not around anymore.
Yeah.
So and that's just not America; it's worldwide.
Yeah, absolutely.
We felt it here, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Man, when I try to get plantain right now.
Don't even start me.
The other day, this lady told me, Miss Gladys, shout out to Miss Gladys. She tried to give me 4 pieces of plantain for 100 CDs. I was like, I said, come on, man. Come on. Stop playing.
No.
Stop playing.
That's outrageous.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I got my girl to go to the market for me just a couple of days ago. And she was showing me 4 plantains, 60 cedis. I said, what? 60 cedis?
Over here in Malcolm, 4, it was maybe about 5 or 6 pieces. It was like 80 CDs. I was like, come on, man.
That's like luxury food now.
Yeah.
Like, it might as well be like oysters or something. I don't know. What?
I know.
Wild.
That's crazy. Yeah. So, things are just, things that were not expensive are expensive now.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to continue.
That's the thing. There's something, after I had the conversation with you on the phone, I sat down and I thought, you know what, sometimes we are pushed into these spaces where God pushes us into spaces that feel uncomfortable for us so that we can have a growth spurt. And so while you're in that phase of things feeling uncomfortable, we don't understand it yet until we've come through. So I just feel like maybe this is what's supposed to happen. Maybe
I believe that
things would have got worse for you. Maybe you would have found yourself in a situation. So now that that distraction has been removed, you can focus on whatever it is that you're supposed to do. You always have to be prepared to pivot in everything. That's
right. And that's actually one of the things I was about to say was that, on the surface, it looks like, that I'm having issues with who I'm renting from.
Mm-hmm.
But on a deeper level, this is God.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is just Him putting me in position for something way, way bigger and greater. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And and a lot of times that doesn't feel good.
Yeah, it doesn't.
When if He has to move you out of something that you're comfortable with, it don't feel good.
It definitely doesn't feel good. Like, why me?
Yeah, because look, but you know what? To make a diamond, a lot of pressure has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
To make wine,
Mm-hmm.
grapes have to get crushed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
And look, sometimes you got to get crushed.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to go through a lot of pressure.
Oh, that
You know
gives
what I
me hope.
mean? Yeah, look. Y'all know out there, you
Yeah.
know, and so a lot of times you gotta go through, and like you said, when you come out on the other side,
Yeah.
you know, you get to look back and be like, okay,
It makes sense now.
I see what happened.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
definitely. I feel like that's definitely going to be the case here.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me, like, what's your greatest moment of Jet Soul?
That's a good question. My greatest moment, I'll say this: I've had a lot of great moments.
Mm-hmm.
And my greatest moments have been when I do have a tour bus that pulls up, and we get tours monthly, right?
Okay.
We'll get a couple tours every month, and so, which that's why I was like, y'all don't understand that I'm bringing like the diaspora to the. Okay, y'all don't see my value.
Yeah.
No problem. All right, no
I'm like,
problem.
who's going to that mall if there's like Jerk Soul is not there? I don't understand. Like,
Anyway,
read it, please.
but you know what? When they would come in,
Mm.
you know, and they would be from different cities. They might be from the Caribbean. They might be from Canada. They might be from the UK. They might be from America. But they would be from different places, and they would come in, and they would. I would get an opportunity to listen to their stories.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I would tell them my story because they asking me questions or whatever, and I would address the crowd. But then after that, you know, they're pulling me to the side one by one. You know what I mean? And I get to hear why they wanted to come over to Ghana.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And some of them were the elderly who always wanted to experience Africa, and so just hearing all of these stories. Those were my greatest moments, you know, and because there's not a lot of people that were in that position,
Yeah.
you know, to all of these people, and you get to talk to them. So I built a lot of relationships.
Yeah, because there were a few times I would call you up. I was like, "Do you have anyone that I can interview?"
Yeah,
you know, because I knew that you had all these amazing connections. You know?
Exactly, you know. So, and I was in that position to be able to meet all of these people and hear all of their stories, and you know, there was a lot of emotional stories and tears of happiness, and you know, and even anguish. And those were the greatest moments that I was able.
How did it make you feel? Like when you hear these emotional stories from people, what impact did it have on you?
Just amazement. I would just be like, wow, you know, this lady is 90 years old, you know, and it's always been a dream of hers to come to the motherland and experience it, you know, and I would just sit there like I'm talking to my granny, you know, and just listen to her, you know, and just be like, wow, this is amazing. It's an amazing position that I'm in.
Yeah.
And then just to be able to also, you know, give them, of course, you know, they're on tour or whatever, so they'll be here for a week or two, and they're eating a lot of, you know, Ghanaian food or whatever, but I know them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I would always hear, like, hey, man, I'm tired of, it's too much rice. rice. And I'm like, you know, hey, you know, sometimes you want some baked macaroni and cheese. You know, sometimes you want some cabbage and some greens and some sweet potatoes and corn, and you want some fried chicken, and you want some jerk chicken, and you want some, you know what I mean, some curry. So, I was in a position to feed bodies, minds, souls. So, it's been a blessing, you know. It's been a huge blessing. Yeah, you know. And I'm, of course, I'm in mourning,
Yeah.
because that's my baby,
Absolutely.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly feel like what's happening is very unfair,
Mm-hmm.
but life ain't fair.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. It's
life
very
is
true.
not fair, and so it is what it is, and I'm just at this point I'm just thankful.
Yeah.
I'm thankful.
It's been an amazing experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm somebody who just can't be stopped.
Yeah.
You can't stop me.
It's not. I mean, hey, you've been here for a while. I mean, hey, what else?
Look, even before I got to Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
throughout my life, I've been through many, many trials and tribulations, many mountains, many valleys.
Yeah.
And so what I've learned, coming up and having the opportunity to literally grow up with some of the people that I knew, they didn't get even a chance to grow up.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful I had a chance to grow up into my 20s and my 30s and into my 40s and stuff. And so I just look back and I'm like, yo, I'll tell you this. Somebody on Facebook said this about me, because they know me, and they said, "You are what resilience looks like."
Wow.
And I thought about that.
That's powerful.
I was like, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Keep going. Yeah. Absolutely.
I am resilient. You know what I'm saying? And I'm excited. I'm excited.
In contrast, tell me, what was your lowest moment at Drexel?
Now.
That's fair.
Now, this is the lowest moment. Yeah.
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 Okay, so tell me, what are your plans going forward now? Because obviously, once Drexel closes, are you going to reopen somewhere else? What's the plan?
So the plan is, what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to establish, because you can't be here and not be making no money.
Oh, you won't last very long.
Right. You will not last very long.
Yeah.
So the plan is to establish, make something. That's my phone. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, where is it? It's not in my pocket.
Yeah.
So the plan is to establish something smaller, where I got less overhead and just less money that has to go out. I kind of felt like I was working for someone else, even though I'm the boss.
Yeah.
All of my money is going to rent and overhead and staffing and food costs and all that kind of stuff. So the Most High, he gave me a really, really awesome idea. And last year I actually got a small space not far from one of the colleges out here.
Okay.
And I haven't done anything with that space.
So you have it?
Yeah, okay. I've had it for about 9 months.
Oh,
and this
really?
has been sitting. Yeah, but I've been so busy, you know what I'm saying? I haven't had a chance to do anything with it. And so a couple of weeks ago, I was like, well, I actually already have. And it's a really, really, really small space. And so I'll be able to do some creative things out of it, some creative carry out, and cater to the students in the area and everything. So I got a nice little situation that's coming up. You know what I mean? And but my current location, I spent a lot of money for that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I put about $70,000.
Really?
Into that place. Yeah.
So how do you move out? How do you begin to move out of there? What happens with all the things that you have?
Well, this is the thing, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so disappointed in the situation, because I feel like, man, I put all of this money into this, and what am I leaving with?
Right.
What am I leaving with? So it's going to cost me to move out of there. It's going to cost me to move into something else.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to sell some of that beautiful furniture that I have in there, to try to, get some of my money back. But I got a lot of big commercial kitchen equipment and everything, so Jerk Soul is probably gonna be on pause for about a year. But that whole year, I'm gonna be working to bring it back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna, if it's okay with you, I'm gonna put a link down in the description where, if anybody wants to, wants to show some love, they'll be able to do that.
Yeah.
But everything is good.
Yeah.
Everything
It's
is
fine.
good.
You are, as you said, you are resilient, and so this is definitely not the last time we are going to see you.
That's
I
right.
know that you ain't going nowhere because I'm gonna take your passport.
That's right. That's right. But I ain't going nowhere, man. I'm not leaving. I've seen so many people leave.
I know. It's always very sad.
Yeah.
Because
these
have
are good people.
Yeah.
Who did not want to leave.
Yeah.
They wanted to be here. But either their personal economics wasn't up to par, or they ran into situations like what I'm dealing with right now.
So do you think this is a common thing that happens?
Well, I mean, apparently it is, because I've already heard about situations like these. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But people that are hearing that I'm closing, they're calling me and they got their own, telling me their own stories. Somebody told me yesterday. Somebody just sent me a Facebook message that's talking about, man, look, I understand. I rented out just a little small container because I have a lot of food that's growing on my property.
Yeah.
So, I rented out this container for a year, and the other day I came to it and all my stuff was sitting on the outside of it.
Huh?
I'm like, why? It's like, because the person that I'm renting it from told me that their sister needs it.
Oh, no.
So they just got kicked out without, and I'm like, you paid for like a year? And they're like, yeah, but he's not trying to give me my money back. I was like, that's crazy. I was like, I've been hearing so many. And so people get turned off.
Yeah.
We come here and we really hope for the best.
Yeah.
But when you get treated like that, it's like, why would I use my hard-earned money and put it into, this economy here if you're going to treat me like that?
Exactly.
If there's no integrity, if there's no loyalty, if greed is just taking over, why would I? I might as well stay in Babylon.
Ooh, it's a tough one, because that is what puts people off coming and investing here, because it's a risk. It is a risk.
It is.
But Ghana is high risk, high reward, though.
That's true.
If it pays off.
That's true.
You did your million.
Yeah. Hey, look, and listen. As far as the rewards go, the rewards to me are not financial. The rewards are totally just spiritual, and I'm still healing.
Yeah.
I'm still healing, and so regardless of any hardships, it's way better than being in the States.
Yeah.
It's way better than being in the States. So I couldn't see myself, and I'll probably, maybe even go back later this year and open up a location, in Jerk Soul's hometown, which is St. Louis, Missouri. And shout out to St. Louis. They really just experienced a crazy tornado that ripped the whole city up. They're rebuilding, and I might go back for a little bit to help to rebuild, and because man, St. Louis been calling for Jerk Soul to come back for the last 3.5 years. So I might do a homecoming, but I have something huge planned here, though.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You gonna share?
No.
Okay.
It's huge.
Really?
So I'm very thankful for the experience that I've had at my current location. I'm the type of person that I don't really spend too much time on the negative.
Yeah. It's no point. Yeah.
It's really no point in it. You know what I mean? I can't spend too much time there. I mean, I'm human, so you're gonna spend a little bit of time there, but you just gotta get back on the horse, right?
Yeah.
And so I have some really big plans to reopen Jerk Soul.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
Oh, I'm definitely staying tuned. I'm watching you very closely. But is there anything you'd like to say before we end the video? Anything you'd like to add?
Man, you know what? Yeah, thankful. I'm very grateful and very thankful for all of the relationships that I made here through my restaurant, including people like yourself, influencers like yourself, anybody that literally came and spent your hard-earned money with me at my restaurant, anybody that showed love in the comments under all of the interviews that I've done. And go to Judah's Exodus and subscribe, okay? Because I'm going to document everything. I'm about to document my whole move.
I want to see all of
out.
it. Yeah.
I'm about to document my move to my next endeavor that I'm doing. I'm going to document all of that stuff. I like to be open. And really just show people not only the good, but the not so good as well.
That's reality. Yeah.
When I talk about Ghana, I don't like to talk about the bad stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm an honest person, so I'm gonna. A lot of times, those are conversations that are like one-on-one. But when I'm on camera, I don't want to deter anybody from coming here and living or doing business and stuff like that. However, it's very important for these conversations to happen, so that they know that the people know it's not all roses.
Yeah, let's not romanticize it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so thank you guys.
So definitely head over. I'm going to be watching those videos very closely because I want to see some emotion too. I want to see what this is like.
Okay. I want to see the real.
I want to be a fly on the wall for this process, because I was actually there at the first day you opened. Do you remember you did a private taster?
That's right.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I remember your jerk was, I didn't think you could really get jerk around like that. And it was so good. And I remember you saying that you had done it from scratch. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's hard to get. I mean, in the West, it's easy to get all of the ingredients that you need to do it the authentic way. It's not so easy here, so you gotta finagle. You gotta you gotta get it to as close as you can. And so when I did that tasting for influencers, yes, you were there, and so that's why I'm just so super thankful for all of the relationships that I've made here.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah. I know this is not the last we'll be seeing of you. That's
not at all. I'm around.
around.
I'm around.
Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to end the video there. I'm sure if you have any more questions, you can drop them into the comment section below, or head over to Judah's page and show him some love. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to put the link into the description box, as you were saying, as well. So if anybody would like to show you a bit of love, they can do. You know, and any way that we can help. Obviously, if you're selling anything and people want to buy as well.
Yes.
We will make some
put that
provision
information
for that.
in there.
Yeah,
So
we'll do all of that. Absolutely. So, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, do me a favour, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment and share this video. Until next time, we are out. Let's
Peace.